Hello, my name is Denise. I am a nurse and diabetes educator with Allied Services Home Health Department here in Clarks Summit, Pennsylvania. And one Wednesday of the month from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, we present a diabetes education class to the community. So this is a class that is free to the public, and it's held here at the patient dining room at John Hines in Wilkes-Barre. We help people with diabetes. The biggest thing we do is to reduce the fear factor. People come to class and they are very afraid of their diagnosis of diabetes, and we help them learn that with patience and time, we as the support group also can help them gain better control of their diabetes. We teach all types of aspects of diabetes, meal planning. We teach physical activity and how physical activity can actually help lower their blood sugar numbers. We teach people what are healthy number ranges and what are not. We also talk a lot about medications and insulins. And with this information, they can discuss with their doctor options that will help them better control the diabetes. So we are very welcoming to anyone that would like to come to class. And again, this class today was scheduled for May 8th, and our next class will be held on June the 5th on a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So anyone that is interested in this class can call us at Allied Services at 348-2200, and we will definitely add you to our list of people coming to receive their diabetes education. Also let your doctors know about this class, because many times people learn through different means and can learn with a different approach than what they have been used to, and since everybody has a different learning curve, it's just good to hear instruction given by different people in different ways. Good morning to you all. Welcome to class today. We are going to do class a little bit different today. And why I say that is because we have two guest speakers coming, and they will be introducing two products. So the first product is going to be an insulin patch. And I just asked a couple minutes ago if anyone heard about an insulin patch, and lo and behold, we have a person with us today that's actually wearing an insulin patch. And I guess you can show it to them a little later. It's secured to his abdomen. So why is the patch a wonderful breakthrough? Because it does not involve insulin syringes or needles, and it does deliver two kinds of insulin. This patch is designed for type 2 diabetes, people with type 2. And there is background insulin. Some of you have heard of Lantus, Levemir. That is the insulin that a person takes to have, it's a long-term or long-acting for 24, 26 hours. So that insulin stays in the body for a whole day. Then there's the short-acting insulin that is taken at mealtime. It's also referred to as a bolus insulin because it's a figured out number of units that is taken at your meal, depending on how much carbohydrate food you're eating.
That's me.
That's you. Okay. Also, we have Lori Knight coming. She is from a company called Sigvaris, Sigvaris, and she will be coming to talk about compression stockings. So Sigvaris is a company that has their own compression stockings. And on the table here, I'm going to pass out a pamphlet that will tell you information about the Sigvaris compression stocking. So when do you think someone would need compression stockings? Just,
If your feet start to swell.
Right. One big reason is lower extremity swelling or edema. So what are some of the things that, why are some of the reasons people have swollen legs? Edema is fluid collection in any part of the body. It could be the legs, could be your abdomen, your thighs, your ankles, and sometimes people have heart conditions that require them to use compression stockings because their legs swell. Also, if people have varicose veins, that's another reason that compression stockings are used.
Also, people that are at high risk for clots. They would be the people that have very high blood sugars, not controlled, and are at a high risk for developing clots because the blood is so thick, it's more like a maple syrup when there's a lot of sugar content in it, rather than, say, water. The consistency is more like a maple syrup, and when the blood becomes like that, you have a risk of developing blood clots. So compression stockings are one way to work on preventing clots from forming, because everyone knows when a clot forms, it can go to your head and contribute to having a stroke, or it can go to your heart and you could have a heart attack. Okay. Does anyone here wear compression stockings or has been considering compression stockings?
Yeah, I don't wear them all the time, but I have.
Okay. Some of you are used to seeing the TED stockings, which are compression, and they used to be only available, I think, in white, and now they have them in white and tan. But this company that makes these compression stockings it has a really big history. They started back in 1864. There was the start of a ribbon company that over the years turned into, making various items of clothing, including stockings. And in 1958, medical compression stockings were developed by this Dr. Carl Sigg, S-I-G-G, and that's the first part of the company's name, Sigg Verus. So it has quite a history. I was going to set these down on the table over there if you want to, there are a few there, maybe 6 or 7. You can set them down or take one and look it over, and then you can return it to someone else. Now, the Vigo insulin patch, I have some information on that here that I'm going to send around to you. You can take a copy of it. It will basically, go over a little bit about how it's worn. It can be worn under your clothing. It's lightweight. It only weighs about an ounce when it's filled with insulin. And it's a once a day application. So there's no electronics involved. So it really makes it a lot easier for use. Okay, so is there anyone here that does not know what diabetes is exactly? I mean, I know we have a lot of people at different, levels of learning and different experiences that, have had instruction on diabetes before. So, well, yes.
I'm a pre-diabetic. My doctor wants me to get involved. I'm really not sure what to look for, what to do,
Okay.
etc.
Okay, so we're going to do a little overview on diabetes. First of all, you need to know that diabetes is, I hate to say the word disease, a disorder that comes about when the pancreas can no longer put out insulin, does not release insulin, or only releases small amounts of insulin. So for people with type 2 diabetes, your pancreas might be functioning a little bit, and you might be receiving some insulin, but not enough. So it is at that point that your doctor will do some blood work. Your annual blood work will show your blood sugar number might be a little bit elevated. So with that, he might say, oh, you're pre-diabetic, meaning your number range is maybe 90 to 110. Once the number reaches 126, 110, let's say 90 to 110 is like pre-diabetic. But once it reaches like the number 126, and don't ask me why they picked that number, on 2 or more occasions, it's pretty much diagnostic for diabetes. So then you're getting together with your doctor to talk about what can we do to get my numbers better. Most people understand that when you have high blood sugar numbers, your blood is going to be very thick. It's going to be a lot thicker because of the high sugar content. High sugar content's in your blood because your pancreas isn't releasing the insulin to use that blood sugar in your blood to get in your cell to give you energy. That's where your energy comes from. The first organ of the body that needs the energy first is your brain. So if you are having very low blood sugars, for maybe you skipped a meal and you're not eating, your brain will start, telling you or tell some symptoms. You might have a headache, or you might, your body might start feeling a little trembly or a little sweaty. You might get a little cranky, and people around you notice, what's going on. You seem to be a little more agitated today than yesterday. If, on the other hand, your numbers go very high, you will feel pretty sick. You'll feel very thirsty. You'll start passing your urine a lot because you're going to be drinking a lot of water. The reason being, all the sugar in your bloodstream, and you have a lot of it there if your numbers are over 200, it's actually pulling the fluid. The sugar acts like a magnet that pulls the fluid out of your cells. So that fluid has to go somewhere, so it goes out through the kidneys and the bladder, and you're passing the urine, large amounts of urine. Well, when you pass large amounts of urine, you're going to feel very, very thirsty because you lost a lot of fluid. So in that case, you're going to feel like you want to drink the ocean because you're just so thirsty. It's a kind of a thirst that it's hard to quench because of the large amounts of water that you're losing. So the whole idea here is to get to the doctor or get to a hospital. If you're really, if your blood sugars are 400 or over, you want to be in an emergency room because you would need to receive intravenous insulin. They'll get you regulated, and at that point, you'll be taught how to use the blood sugar meter, and you'll be given a set of numbers that are the ranges that are healthy for you, and you'll also be taught the range that's not healthy. So, with that said, does anyone have a question? Is it for the new people? Are you wondering, well, my numbers are not quite, high enough for diabetes, but I'm pre-diabetes. What do I do? So I would say the three main ways to control your blood sugar is physical activity, and that's only under the approval of your doctor, because most people need a stress test before they're given approval to go out and do some walking. People who have nerve damage to their feet from long-term diabetes it's not wise to go out and just start walking, a mile or two because of the damage it could do to the nerves in your feet, further damage. So once you talk to your doctor about a stress test, because maybe you enjoy swimming and you want to come to a community place such as this to learn cardiac care in classes that are offered here in the pool area. We also have Tai Chi. There's a number of different ways you can get physical activity in. And if you call here at the main desk, they'll direct you to a person that will discuss what activities are offered here to help you, stay healthier. So that's one aspect of diabetes control, physical activity. And it has to be done consistently, not, one day here and then maybe 2 weeks down the road you go out and you do another walk, say 10 or 15 minutes out and back. At least 3 times a week. And you probably have heard that many times. Yes?
Are the classes here free or?
Since it's a community class, I'm thinking they might not charge for it. There is a sign down at the dining room door. I was looking at it with Leo, and there is an extension to call, but if you go to the information desk out here and you say to them, can I have the extension, for information I need about the physical activity classes here. Yeah, I saw.
Tai Chi, I think, is $40 for 6 weeks. It was just in the paper.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, somebody's teaching Tai Chi, and that's for balance and everything.
Right, for balance and
I
coordination.
think it said it was $40 for 6 weeks.
That's still a reasonable amount to pay for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, they would tell you if it's twice a week or once a week.
I think it's once I'm not certain, but I think it's once a week.
Okay. I think the swimming pool here is a charge of maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's $5.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I know in the past we've had people from class here use the swimming pool for some physical activity.
Do they have an instructor at the pool?
That's a good
Somebody
question.
that would do the exercise, like.
Yes, they do.
It was yourself, what, right?
There's
That was taken.
trainers there.
Okay.
I mean, there's teachers there. They do the exercises with you. And one of the girls is up on the top, and the other one is down in the
Pool.
water.
Okay.
And she goes around to each one. And if you're not doing it right, they correct you. And but there's I think there's like 3 that are in there.
Okay, so there are instructors there,
Oh yeah.
outside the pool and inside the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one way is physical activity. The second way is healthy eating. There is no magic formula for eating when you have diabetes. The main thing you have to remember is to be everything in moderation and watch your starch intake. You don't want to sit down. A Thanksgiving dinner would be an ideal way to show you really need to limit the carbohydrate or starch intake at the table. The starches include the breads and pastas and rice and dried beans, lima beans. Corn and peas are starchier than, say, carrots or beets. But when you have a Thanksgiving dinner and you sit down, I always tell everyone, do not take a big scoop of anything, a small spoon of everything, because pretty much everything at the table has carbohydrate content, meaning it breaks down into starch the quickest and will raise your blood sugar quick. That would be your cranberry sauce, your mashed potatoes and sweet potato, and your, what else? Stuffing, apple pie, pumpkin pie, if you have any rolls.
Well, they always say for a diabetic, use a smaller plate,
Definitely.
and then you don't eat so much. Only eat what's on that plate, and that's it. Try it.
That's a good idea. Smaller plate, smaller servings. Okay. So I am going to let's start this way. You'll be getting more information about the patch, insulin patch, but I did make some copies of that. You can start this way and go down there to take a copy if you wish, or if you would like to wait for our speaker, that's fine too. Okay, so getting back to what we were talking about, so we have physical activity, we have healthy eating, and I have a meal plan as a guideline for people who would like to have one. We have selections of breakfast items that you can have, like we have lunch and dinner menus. You can mix and match or use it as it is. On the average, a woman may need 2 to 3 servings of a carbohydrate food at her meals. On the average, a man might need 4 to 5 servings of a carb. Of course, if you're physically active to the point of running or doing a lot more a sport, tennis and such, you would require a lot more calories and carbs because you would be burning it up. But a serving of a carbohydrate food can be likened to a slice of bread. There may be approximately 15 grams of carbohydrate in a slice of bread. Carbohydrate is a fancy way of naming a particular amino acid chain, chemical combination of amino acids that are formed together and are found in the foods that are starchy and are sweet. And they're found in our fruits and fruit juices. Some are in yogurt and milk. So the whole idea is to not exceed 2 or 3 servings from a woman's standpoint of view at a meal, and for 4 to 5 servings at a meal for men. An example of a breakfast, for example, just to make it a little bit clearer. For those of you that have come to our class and have been with us and talking about a lot more about meal planning, I want those of you to calculate in your head a very simple breakfast and just tell me how many servings of a carb I'm having. For example, I'll get up tomorrow morning and I'll have a cup of cold cereal. On that cereal, I might put 4 ounces of milk. I'm not going to use a whole cup. On top of that cereal, I'll take a half of a banana sliced. Then I might have 1 slice of toast, and 1 scrambled egg. I'll also have coffee. Okay, so where are the starches or where are the carbs in this meal? Is the scrambled egg considered starchy or carb food? No. Why? It's a protein. Now, eventually, everything breaks down to sugar, but it's the proteins and foods like, what else? Fat foods, they break down a lot slower, but we're not counting our scrambled egg as a carbohydrate. Are we counting the slice of toast? Yes. So it can be any kind of toast, give or take a couple grams, for the various kinds of bread you can use. So we have a slice of toast is 1 serving of a carb. How many as a woman can I have at a meal? That would be about average 2 to 3 servings. So now I have 1 serving, which is the slice of toast. What's the second serving?
Cereal.
The cereal. So I'm looking on the box of my cereal and it says 1 serving equals 1 cup. And in that 1 cup, it might be 30 grams or 15 and 15, 2 servings of a carb. Did I lose you there or did you follow me there? So. Okay. So just say I have 2 servings of a carbohydrate from my cereal because it's 30 grams. 15 we said was equivalent to a slice of bread or 1 serving. 15 and 15, 30 grams. That's 2 more servings. So now I have the slice of bread and 2 servings of carb with my cereal. That's 3. However, I really wanted that half a banana on that cereal. So I sliced up a large banana and I cut it in half and sliced it up. That would be my 4th serving of a carb because it's a fruit. So I had 4 servings of carb at my breakfast, which would be a little more than I'm used to eating. But I plan on going for a walk, maybe 10 minutes out and 10 minutes back. So that's going to help use up my extra carb and use up, help my pancreas to function a little bit better with that activity. So I'm not taking any medication yet. I really do have diabetes, but I'm not taking a med because I do a lot of physical activity throughout the week. But in your case, maybe you don't need a medication now, but say you're, doing everything right, your meal planning is pretty good, you go out for that 10-minute walk or 15-minute walk back and forth at least 3 times a week, but your numbers are still not coming down. Well, then the doctor will look at an oral agent or medication first to help you, get that number down. These diabetes medications work in different ways. We have some that help the pancreas to push out the insulin you have in there. Others work on gut hormones in your stomach, and others turn off your liver from pushing out stored sugar, which keeps the numbers down. There might be 8 or 10 different kinds of classes of oral diabetes medicines, maybe a half a dozen different kinds of insulin, short and long acting. So it's not an easy fix, but doctors will work with you, and people like myself work with you to help you understand what you need to do, and when it's time to talk to the doctor about your medication. So with that said, what should your number be in the morning? What's the range your blood sugar number should be when you wake up? If you are in good control, you should have a range between 70 and 100. Now, that's an average. Some laboratories will say 60 and 100. Others will say, no, we don't like to see the sugars below 80 in the morning. But that's like a guideline. An hour after you eat your breakfast, your number should look like 140-ish, give or take. 2 hours after breakfast, you should look more like 120-ish, give or take. Now, we have an American Endocrine Society that's a little bit stricter than the American Diabetes Society with their numbers. I don't have it in front of me, but if I remember correctly, the Endocrinology Society doesn't, their target range for after eating, 2 hours after eating, is 120 to 140. So that means if you look at the clock and you're ready to take your first forkful of food, you time it 2 hours. After you eat, when that 2 hours is up, you check your sugar again, and that number range for good control should be between 120 and 140. The American Association of Diabetes gives you a little more leeway. They're saying the number range could be between 160 and 180. So we have two different, mindsets there. I like the tighter control because it just makes you, it just helps you be less at risk for the complications, the problems that come with long-term diabetes. And next class we'll talk about neuropathy and some of the things that happen when your sugar's out of control for a long time, years. Some people are not diagnosed with diabetes until 8 years later, 8 years after they develop the disease, because they don't know the signs and symptoms. They don't know when they're drinking a lot and going to the bathroom, passing their urine a lot, that their sugar is out of control, or they don't know when they're shaky and sweaty and they skipped a meal. They don't know that that's a sign, that something's not right with their blood sugar level. Questions?
Well, I have one. What's metformin? That's a popular diabetic drug. What does that do, actually?
Metformin is that drug that shuts, it stops the liver from pumping out stored sugar. The sugar has to go somewhere. You might eat a nice meal, but your body's not going to use all that energy, in all the food that you just ate. So it's going to take what it needs, and the rest of it gets stored in the liver, which is here on the right side of your body. So the liver stores glucose or sugar, and this little liver has a pretend, if you just make a pretend picture in your head of a little faucet that's constantly dripping, drip, drip, little tiny bits of stored sugar. And we need that function of the liver because when we're sleeping or between meals, we're not eating. We're not like constantly supplying ourselves with this energy we need. But the liver knows, hey, this person's asleep, I'm not getting any food, the body needs to stay, in tune and working well. So while they're sleeping, it starts dripping out little tiny bits of sugar, or glucose is the right word to say. And in between your meals, it's doing the same thing because it's not getting fed. As soon as you start eating, the pancreas should start pumping out little bits of insulin. But most people with type 2 either don't have enough insulin pumped out and need some medication, or, like they're borderline. Sometimes it works, the pancreas works good, sometimes it doesn't.